He's back, back again. I know it's been a while, but as with the last couple of months, some shit has gone down. And I thought I would film earlier this weekend, and I realized I wasn't quite ready. But I do have some new products today to show you. New lip, new highlighter. Um, so if looking at some new products from Dior, Fenty, Giorgio Armani, Freck, Kulfi, Danessa, Myricks sounds good to you, then I'd really appreciate it if you would like it, subscribe, ignore the laundry in the back and the dryer because it's laundry day, and recommend me to other people who might like this kind of content. So we're going to look at new makeup today, but I also need to give you some life updates. So I'm going to start with a moisturizer because I just shaved and my face is incredibly dry. And Freck recently sent me their Rich Bitch moisturizer. Now, I really like their Rich Bitch primer. And they sent that as well, but I've never tried their moisturizer. And so I thought this would be good. I'll tell you right off the bat, it's a little bit thicker than I thought it would be, but it's certainly not thick. It's just a little bit thicker. It's certainly not runny. It just says that this is a cactus and vitamin C moisturizer and hydrator. Light yet rich ultra moisturizer of your dreams. Well, we'll see about that. What we can see is if it will help with my dry skin. Okay, it does smell like cactus. It smells like aloe vera. But wow, that feels really beautiful on the skin. Very smooth. I'm kind of wondering if I need to use the primer today or if this will be enough. I think we'll just try this today. I do have the Rich Bitch primer and I've used it before and I really like it. But I think for today we'll just stick with this moisturizer. Oh, I see a rogue little hair that I missed shaving, so that's going to drive me nuts. So let me go get that off and I'll be right back. Okay, crisis averted. The hair has been removed. And I will tell you, my skin feels so smooth right now. It reminds me a lot of the primer. But the primer, let me see if I have it here, because it is one of my favorite primers. Yeah, this is the Freck Rich Bitch Protect and Prime Serum Base. And it is a more of a gel consistency. And it has kind of an interesting texture, but it's a lot lighter in texture than this. This has a little bit more, I don't know, it's a little smoother. They both have that kind of really hydrating silicone feel. I don't know that it's going to necessarily do anything about my pores, but it is a beautiful base. So that's that. So let's get into the life updates. If you follow my Instagram, you probably already know this, but in December, the week before Christmas, my father had a heart attack and passed away. And then the Saturday before Christmas, my brother went to deliver Christmas presents to my sister and her husband, and they had taken their own lives after a lot of health, mental and physical issues. Then we moved my mother up to closer to my brother, and she was doing rehab. She went into a rehab facility to try to work on her hip. And I thought she was doing a little better the last time I saw her. And then last week I found out she died. I didn't find out. I was told, obviously. So our family of 7 has gone down to a family of 2 in 4 months. And so it has been a lot to process. And it's kind of why I haven't been as apt to make videos of late. I think that when my father passed away, and then after my sister and brother-in-law, I think my mom just kind of gave up. And I cannot blame her in the least for that. I can't even imagine what it would feel like to have your only daughter, your oldest child, um, take their life like that. And I think that she was already in poor health, my mother, and that just kind of pushed it along. We had a very complicated relationship. It was great at times, and then at times she was a challenging person. I mean, I guess I am too. We all are. But so I've been working. We have a memorial service coming up for my father and mother in early June, and then my brother and I sort of have to figure out where to go from here as far as their home, the only home that I've ever known that I grew up in. It's a farm, so we've got to sort of figure out what to do with that, and everything that's come along with it. It's just been a lot. But I don't want to get us all down today because, like I said, we have new products from Dior, Danessa, Myricks, Prada, Fenty Beauty, Armani, Freck. So we're going to try to chug on because I know coming down the pike we have new goodness from Chanel. We have a new Natasha Denona palette that looks a lot like a lot of the other Natasha Denona palettes of late. We have a new Marc Jacobs Beauty, and we have new lip liners from Louis Vuitton La Beauté, which I love. So we've got a lot coming down the pike, and I don't want to let it build up too much. And so we're just going to try to work through it today. And if I need to stop and pause, then that's what we'll do. So, okay, I feel now that this is dried down pretty nicely. It feels nice. I do, under my eyes, I'm going to do a little bit of my Belief Aqua Bomb. I like to use this as a concealer primer, especially if I'm doing a more matte look. And I'm going to be doing matte foundation today and matte concealer. I say that. Here it comes. If you've never tried this product, I think it's really great as an under eye hydrator. It has this cooling tip on it that I really like. And if I'm gonna do, I don't do matte a lot, but because we're showing off highlighters, new highlighters today, I want them to really show up. So I'm going to do matte and natural finish. And so I do definitely want to have some sort of base down. And I really like this Belief gel, and that little tip is really cooling and nice. So when it comes to matte foundations, I don't have a lot, but my favorite and the only one that I have that has not made me look dry and crusty and always looks beautiful is, I think, the gold standard, the Tom Ford Soft Matte Architecture Foundation. And normally I would use like the Tom Ford Glowy Primer under it. Just like if I was doing the Tom Ford Illuminating Foundation, I would probably use the matte primer. But because we're using this Rich Bitch today, we'll see how it acts with that. So I have my Tom Ford Soft Matte in 4.5, which is Soft Ivory. And I really like this foundation. It is a perfecting foundation. So it's going to give you medium to full coverage, and it's going to be a full beat, which, you know, this time of year, I tend to use more like the Chanel Water Fresh Tint and the smaller one. But like I said, I want to show off these new highlighters today from Dior. So I think it's probably best to use a matte. And this really is a beautiful foundation. I struggle with matte foundations, but this one is really perfecting, really beautiful. It starts at a solid medium and can easily build to, a full coverage with just a little bit more, like one more pump. It just goes on so smooth and so lightweight, and it doesn't get drying as the day goes on. Now, that being said, I'm going to use a glowier setting spray today, so that will help with that. But even when I haven't used a setting spray, I've noticed that this foundation always looks really beautiful for a matte foundation. And I've got other matte foundations. I have the one from Chanel. I have the YSL one, and I can make them work, but I have to use like a really shiny high gloss primer. This is the only one that I don't have to, really worry about looking dry or crusty, and it has really good longevity. Now with that, I also have the Tom Ford Traceless Soft Matte concealer, and I really love this concealer. I love the stick form of the foundation, and I'm hoping that they bring that back. But as of now, they only have this. I still think the Tom Ford stick foundation is my all-time favorite stick foundation, and I'm hopeful that they bring it back. It's very similar to this in consistency, so I'm thinking maybe they will bring it back. But this has just a really nice kind of natural matte finish. So yeah, I've been working on a film strip this weekend for the funeral. It's just a lot. And hunting for documents and all that. It's just a lot, and people don't believe it when you're telling them that this has all happened within 4.5 months. It's crazy. And I went 2 weeks ago to see my mom, and she seemed better. But then last week or two, I was on a trip and got the call. So I'm going to set this. I don't really have to with this foundation, but I'm going to set it with just a little bit of my translucent Dior setting powder. I don't think I have any Tom Ford setting powder. I don't think so. But this one works really well. And with it being a matte product, it's not going to move as much on me, but I do like to set my under eyes, and that looks really beautiful and perfected. So I didn't grab a contour, but what I did grab is the Westman Atelier Soleil Parfait. I really like this product, and it has two colors in it. I kind of blend them together, but one is a little cooler and one is a little deeper. So in a pinch, it really can work nicely as a contour as well as a bronzer. So I'm going to grab a little bit of the darker shade and just apply it a little bit like I would a contour. It doesn't replace the contour like Westman Atelier Biscuit. That's a fabulous contour. But I think today I just want just a little bit of color, and I don't need to do all of that contour work today. So I have mine in the shade 1, which is the lightest shade. I probably could go up to a 2, particularly in the summer, but I kind of like the fact that it's a little lighter and I can build it. And these Westman Atelier products like this are really beautiful. I'm beginning to wonder if they're going to do like blushes and stuff in this formula, because it's really beautiful. Now I'm going to go in and just kind of warm it up a little bit with that other shade. Kind of doing a mix of the two shades, really. which is really nice with these Westman Atelier because you can kind of blend it and mix it to your preferred color. And that way you don't have to have two of these, one for summer, one for fall, or one for summer, spring, one for fall, winter. You can just go a little bit heavier on the darker side or a little bit heavier on the lighter side, depending on the season. Okay, so that's bronzed up. And since we're going to look today at new highlighters from Dior, part of their new series of highlighters. I have two shades here today that we're going to look at. I went ahead and pulled some of the Dior stick blushes that are in the same packaging. They came out with 4 new colors of these. These are not my all-time favorite stick blushes, so I don't use them a ton, so I did not grab the new shades. But I thought to at least see how it plays with the new highlighters, we should try it. So I'm going to grab the shade Rosewood. And the reason I don't use these as much as, say, like Chanel or Westman Atelier, those you can put directly on. These are pretty pigmented. And so, as you can see right there, so you have to be... I tend to use the brush, and even then, if you're not careful, you can quickly overdo it. Now, they do blend in really beautifully, as you see there, but I have the new ones coming from Chanel, and I knew those were coming, the little duos that have the highlighting stick on one side and the blush on the other, and so I did not purchase any of the new 4 shades of this product. It's a good product. It's just I prefer some other stick blush type products. So I have 2 colors. I have Rosewood and I have this other one called Toffee. And they're both really nice. I think you'd like them if you haven't tried them before. But of course the star today, or the new product we're going to try, and of course it's probably not going to show up very well because it's a highlighter, is the new Dior stick highlighters. So let me grab a little micellar water to wipe off any foundation that might have been on my hand from a second ago, just so I can show you these and not have the colors altered. Now, I picked up 2 colors. There, I think, are 8 total, and they have different formulas. One of them is clear. One of them is kind of pearl. One's bronze. One's rosy. I picked up 2 colors. I picked up glazed bubble and glazed mint. These 2 seemed like 2 of the more interesting colors for me to see. So let's go ahead and look at them. They look identical to the blushes. They have the same packaging. They have the same amount of product. So it looks like this is glazed bubble, which is kind of a champagne, the little pink in it. You can see there. It has that same like bubble gummy scent that the stick product, the stick blushes have, but that's a beautiful color. The other one is the glazed mint, which is the one that I think really interested me, as you can see. So let me put this on and you can see it. Okay, this is mint and this is bubble, and you can see the mint does have a little bit of a cooling kind of bluish green reflex. It's subtle. I mean, and it's going to be even more subtle if you use a brush to put these on. But given that I have a new product today from Danessa Myricks for the eyes, I figure we would go in with the green. And I'm going to just apply it and see if it pulls anything off, because it shouldn't. This blush from Dior should work perfectly well with this. So let's see what we get here. Okay, little foundation on it, but nothing crazy. Doesn't look like it's moved anything. Let me go ahead and take my brush that I had the foundation and that I used to blend in a little, and use the other side of it just to kind of blend this product in. It's very pretty and it gives you a nice glow. I will say, I don't know that I see the green when it's actually on the face, but it did liven up my cheeks and make it look, you know, not flat. I wonder, I'm going to use the glazed bubble on my nose just to see if it makes any difference, or if I see any real difference. Okay, this one is a little lighter and there's a little bit of a pink reflex, but I'm not sure that you necessarily, again, it's hard to tell because I'm not out in the sun. Maybe in the sun you could see the green reflex or the pinky champagne reflex of this one. But under this light, they both look really beautiful, but I don't see a ton of difference. But they do look really nice. I mean, look how that really brightened up. So these look great so far. Now, I have a new eyeshadow stick from Danessa Myricks. Last year, Auntie Danessa came out with her Color Fix sticks, and there were 10 of them, and 8 came to Sephora, and there were 2 that were Danessa Myricks site specific. Well, those 2 have come to Sephora now, as well as this new one, which is the Color Fix stick in Infinity, and you can tell it's different than the others because it has this ombre kind of attachment piece in the middle where you can separate the 2 and create your own combo. The other thing that separates this from the others is all of the sticks have a metallic side and a foil side, which is more of a topper with little to no base. This one is both foils, and it's part of her Pride collection for this year. I know there's been a little controversy about that, whether or not any of the proceeds go to Pride. I'm not really sure. It did come with a little card because this was sent to me in PR, and it just says, at Danessa Myricks Beauty, we believe in using color and artistry as a means of expression. This year, I wanted to create something that celebrates the love, stories, and dreams we all share, no matter how you identify. Inspired by our OG metal pigments, the Color Fix Sticks Duo Infinity is wearable artistry grounded in freedom. Every year we send a love letter to our LGBTQ community. I wanted these magical shades to live with you year round as you celebrate the infinite possibilities of love and beauty in all of their forms. So it has 2 shades, Daydreaming and Love Story. And she says that for extra length of wear, or if you want to change the effect they have on the eyes, to use her Color Fix liquid pigments as a base. And she sent one, and it's really beautiful. I don't know if I have it here, but it's a very, very dark one. So I'm not going to use that today because I don't want the look to be that dark. But if you put a dark base under these, it will completely change the look. So this one has 2 foils, like I said, just like the others. You pop off the cap. You definitely, when you buy these, you want to keep the little plastic cap that's on them. That way it won't dry out. But this is the shade... which one's this one? This is Love Story, which is a 2-tone dazzling topper in pink and violet. Really beautiful. Has that cooling effect that these are really known for. The other side, where a metallic normally would be, is also a foil. And this is my favorite formula of these because I think it has the most impact. But this is the shade Daydreaming, and it is a teal to blue to purple. So let's see what this looks like. Really beautiful. Those are really, really beautiful. And I think these retail for $38. And as long as you keep your little tab on them and keep them in a cool, dry place, they should be fine. Like I said, her little color fixes work really well. If you have one that's kind of a color close to your skin tone, it would work great as a base. You do want to have a base with these. I do not have a color fix that's close to my skin tone. She sent a really dark one, which creates a cool look, but I want to go a little lighter today. So I just grabbed one of my little Natasha Denona mini sculpt palettes, and this is in the cool version. You know, they have two of them, but I'm just going to grab, you could actually just use a bronzer too if you wanted, but I'm just going to grab a little bit of this middle color. What's it called? Medium cool, and just place it just to create a little bit of definition there. But you could use a bronzer. A bronzer, of course, is going to be warmer than something like this, but you could get a similar effect. Okay, and then I'm going to take a little bit of medium dark cool up here, just a little bit, and place it kind of on the outer third. These sticks are kind of foolproof. And then over the lid itself, I'm going to grab a little bit of the fair color down here on the bottom, and just place that over the lid. So I'm just kind of creating a base, because the thing about these foils is they don't really have much of a base to them. They're really just shine. So that's just created a really simple base that I can use. And so let's go ahead and start. How do we want to do this? Let's go in with the blue on the outside and work our way kind of ombre into the pink. So I'm going to grab the blue side, which is Daydreaming, like I said. And these do set relatively quickly, so I recommend doing one at a time, but they have that great cooling effect. So I just like to place them like this, and then go in with a brush and blend out the edge. And then if you lose any of the product, you can always go back in and kind of place it. They don't sit down as fast as some of the others. Let me pull you in a little bit. They don't sit down as fast as some of the other type stick products like this. So there is a little bit of flexibility, but they do sit down. And once they sit down, they don't move much. So you want to be careful with that. Let's go ahead and do the blue. I don't think it's a requirement, like with some of the other stick shadows I have, that you do one eye at a time. You probably could have some flexibility with these, but I just think with these stick shadows and like that kind of product, it's probably best to just work as quickly as you can and then go back in and intensify the color. This is weird. It came up, but now I can't get it to go down. I wonder if I kind of gently push it. Yeah, that worked. That's the thing about these. You don't want to push out too much product because sometimes you have to push them back down, but they tend to hold their shape long enough to go back down and not squish out over the sides. So let me grab the other one, which is the pinky champagne. There's even a little bit of green, it looks like, in it. And this is the one called Love Story. And I'm going to do that on the front half of the eye. Actually, with these, just being the foils, I don't even think you have to use the brush to really blend them out. I think you could probably get away with just using your finger a little bit. These are really a good product from her. Now, the thing about her foils is that sometimes you'll get a flake or something that is very big or it doesn't lay flat, and you do want to like press those in. Same with her foils in her Lightworks palettes. See, like right here, you can get a really intense flake every so often, and you kind of have to press it in to get it to lay flat. But I think that looks really nice. I think I've lost a little of the blue, so I'm going to go back in with that one side of the blue. That's where a metallic, you normally have a little more blendability, but this one's 2 foils and it's a special edition, so that's cool. I'm just trying to create a seamless blend here. And I think I did a pretty good job there. These are really nice product. And again, I'm so thankful to Auntie Danessa for sending these products. She's one of the few companies, well, Freck did, and Danessa Myricks, who actually, you know, sends me PR rather consistently. So I think that looks really beautiful. Now, I could have put the pink on the inner corner, but I think what I'm going to do is just grab a little bit of the white from this Natasha palette and just put that on the inner corner. I like a matte inner corner sometimes when I have this much intensity on the eye. That way you're focusing really on the eye. And I can do a little of that under the brow as well. But you certainly could use that pink if you wanted, or you could grab another one of the Color Fix sticks that has a super light or white color for that inner corner if you didn't want to do a matte. Okay, so let me grab a, what do we want to do for a liner? I think it needs to be blue or pink, I'm guessing. I'm going to grab this YSL liner. This is in number 7. The YSL line's Liberated, and this is in a dark blue, but I think it should work fine. If you wanted something lighter, like the denim from Victoria Beckham would look really nice with this. But if you don't go in heavy with this, and you just do a little bit of it in the waterline, it shouldn't be too intense. And I kind of like that little contrast to that darker blue there. But again, there are light blue waterline eyeliners like that one from Victoria that would look really beautiful. Okay, let's curl the lashes and stick on some mascara. Okay, and I think I'll just do black. I had this YSL, the latex lash one, which I have been enjoying. It reminds me a lot of the Prada latex one. Well, I don't think the Prada one's called latex, but they're a similar texture. It's not as dramatic as the YSL Lash Clash, which is my favorite, but it's nice for like a kind of more everyday. It's not as dramatic and full, but it does create length. Now, I am lucky, and I guess I should thank my parents, because I have pretty long lashes as it is. But you can see that looks really nice. Okay, what do we think? I think that's really fun and pretty and shifty. For Pride would be beautiful, but I mean all year long that's a really cool look. So let's pull you out because I've got new lip products to show you. So let me pull you out. No. What in the hell? Okay. This thing hates me. That's okay. So, we have new lip products today. We have, these are not brand new, but they recently came out at Sephora, so I grabbed one of them. These are the new glosses from Prada. It will not go with this look, so I'm not going to try it on, but it's the color Chocobot, and I'll just show you. It's kind of a pinky brown nude, really beautiful. I've tried these on. I think they're nice for a gloss. I think that, do I think that they're anything different than a lot of other glosses that are on the market? No, but I do think they're really nice. So I would get them definitely the next time there's a Prada sale, or Nordstrom carries Prada, or Bloomingdale's I think carries Prada. I'm not sure. But I do really like it. And there's a green one and a banana gold and yellow one that looks pretty cool. The other new products I have today are an extension of my favorite line of like medium priced lipsticks. And these are the Fenty gloss sticks. What are these called? The Gloss Bomb Sticks. She's come out with 4 new colors in nudes. So let me show you those on the back of my hand. The first one, this makes about, I don't know, 20 now total that she has. She has some that are shinier and have glitter particles. These are all part of just the regular line. So this one is called Birthday Suit. You can see that's just a nice nude high shine lipstick. The next one is called Lust Bunny, and I actually think this is a really pretty color. I tried this on the other day. Kind of a caramel, not far off really from that Chocobot from Prada. And then we have Sweet Whiskey. We're getting into really dark, deep colors now. That'll be beautiful for fall. And finally, we have Midnight Ballerina. This will be perfect for Halloween, real gothy. And it's a dark purpley plum. So it almost looks black, but there's some purple in there. So these are the 4 new extensions. And I love this product. I like the sparkly ones and I like these. They're just incredibly comfortable, high pigment, high payoff, and they're reasonably priced, especially when they have Ulta or Sephora sales. So again, we have Birthday Suit, Lust Bunny, which I love, and then we have Sweet Whiskey and Midnight Ballerina. So those are new, and they should be at Sephora and Ulta now. I got mine through the Fenty website, and they did launch a little early, but they are a beautiful product. The other new lip product we have to look at today is from Giorgio Armani Beauty, which I love Armani Beauty for the most part. And I have 2 of their new, what are they called? I can't read this. It's their Prisma gloss sticks. So they have a lip gloss that I really love. I think that it's probably finer than even the Prada one, but these are their stick version. So I've got 2 shades here to show you today. The first one is my standard that I have all the time. I tend to gravitate towards. It's a rosewood, but it's shade number 11. Really beautiful. I have so many of these in my collection because I love rosewoods. The second one I have is this one, which is number 1, which is a blue-green shade with pink sparkles. Really unique. I don't know if you can see that in there, but it's got a really cool kind of reflex in it. So what I'm going to do is grab a liner, and I'm going to try to grab a liner that's as close to my lip color or like a neutral as possible, probably like Victoria Beckham. I'm gonna put that on, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna put this, it's pH balance, so you can see it's got a little bit of different color in there on top, and I think it'll go really well with this look. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I grabbed my Westman Atelier in Petal. It's a little deeper than my lip color. I'm kind of smudging it up a little bit. I think it'll actually look really nice with this. So I know it would look nice with that rosewood color, but I want to see how it does with this teal blue. It's getting more rosy by the second with my pH, which normally I get these. Like there's a Prada one, I think there's a Dior one, and I don't know any difference. But with this one, I am. So it's interesting. They are super shiny. I don't have any Armani lip liners. I don't even know if they have them. I'm sure they do. I'm excited for the new Louis Vuitton lip liners. I knew they were coming at some point because when the brand launched, they were in, they launched the brand with some scarves that had the makeup on them, and they had lip liners on them, but they didn't come out with the original launch of lipsticks, lip balms, and the eyeshadows. But now they're coming out with these, and I'm interested to see where they go with the brand. I believe they're going to be $58, which is a lot, but for Louis Vuitton, that's actually not as bad as I thought it could be. Of course, they're not refillable, which is why they're probably a little less. The other Louis Vuitton products are refillable. They also have a pencil sharpener that looks really gorgeous that I think is going to be like $400. So that's a little crazy. But look at that combination. I think it's really pretty, really shiny, and it just gives an interesting effect. Looks nice with this eye too, because it's not too crazy or bold or bright. I have two setting sprays. Obviously, I only have one face. So the first one I got in PR, and it is the Blur and Bond setting spray from Freck. I'm going to save that for another day, but because I did a matte foundation, I tend to want to use something a little glowier. So I have the Kulfi Glow Mist, which I've heard really good things about. So I'm going to try that today. Okay, that's a really nice, refined mister. That's probably second in fineness to the Pat McGrath glowy setting spray, but it's really beautiful. And I'm really impressed with how those highlighters look. They look really nice, and they don't feel particularly sticky. The Chanel ones are a little slippier, Le Balm de Essentials, where these are a little firmer on, but look how pretty that looks on. And you wouldn't necessarily know that I was wearing like a matte foundation because it added so much shine. I think that looks really nice. So sorry for unloading. That's what's been going on in my life of late. And like I said, the memorial service for both of my parents is going to be on June 6th. My sister and her husband did not want a service of any kind. I'm still going to incorporate them a little into the film strip, and I'll know it's there. But my mother and father were pretty active, he more so, in the town church in the small town that they live. So that's going to be on the 6th, and then we've got a couple of months of dealing with everything estate-wise, between my dad, my sister, her husband, my mother. It's just a lot, and I'm kind of like, why is it all happening at once? That's the one, with two parents who are 84. It's sad, but it's not a shock. when an 84-year-old passes away. And with my sister and her husband, it's shocking the way it happened. But there were a lot of health issues there. It's really more about it all happening within this short time period. And with my brother's wife passing away 2 years ago to breast cancer, I'm looking at like a family photo that had the 7 of us, and it's now down to 2. And that's what's so crazy. So I'm sorry for unloading on you, but I know that some of you like to have updates on what's going on in my life. And then hopefully you've enjoyed seeing new products today. The new highlighters, I think, are winners from Dior. I'll be really interested to see when I take them outside if I see a real difference in the way they appear on the skin between the different colors. But we also looked at new moisturizers, looked at lots of new lips from Armani, Fenty, Prada, and then a new setting spray. New to me, from Kulfi, which I've heard really nice things about. And I've heard that this is also really great to touch up and reapply throughout the day, or to even put on as a base before you do your makeup. So I'll be testing that one out. And of course, we have the new eyeshadow stick from Danessa Myricks, the Danessa Myricks Infinity Stick. So sorry it's been a little while. As you can tell, a lot's been going on, and sorry to unload, but one thing I've noticed is that the community is there for me sometimes when I need it, and I've needed it of late. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please consider liking, subscribing, following along, shopping my links. It doesn't cost you anything, but it does really help the channel. This all adds up, as you know. And yeah, unsolicited advice, YouTube, Instagram. We got more coming from Louis Vuitton, from Chanel, from Marc Jacobs, from Natasha Denona. So stay tuned, like, subscribe, and I'll see you soon.